Welcome back to Creative Excuses. Today is patch note day for the Elder Scrolls Online, so we are going to look over the week 1 patch notes for the new Gold Road chapter, update 42. Spoiler, the class, set, and combat changes are not all that much, but there are a few things I want to talk about that are new, so let's jump into it. So here are the patch notes for Gold Road. These are the week 1 changes, so there's going to be some changes. There's going to be a lot of notes about the new sets, a lot about the new zone. That's what all of this is right here. This is the new Mirrormore incursions. We're going to take a look at these in a later video. This is the new world event. We'll see what happens. It could be fun, might not be. I hope it's more like Bastion Mimics than like a Harrowstorm, or especially than like a Volcanic Vent, or whatever the one in Somerset is. I really hope it's not like that, but we'll find out. Scribing, we're going to go over this stuff in detail. This is going to be a later video because we're going to go check it out and try it out and see how the new skills work. It's going to be super fun. I'm excited to try out the new skills, especially the new soul skills, because I think that'll work on my arcane archer, and then maybe a few of the other ones for some other builds. But we're going to look at those later. More importantly, right now, for the new zone, the biggest thing is actually the sets. Okay, that's a lie. This is huge. Skill styling. ESO has countless ways for you to customize your character's appearance and skills, and with Gold Road, they're introducing skill styles. These are going to be in-game rewards that you can earn. 22 earnable skill styles from the scribing quests, dailies, discovering sky shards, defeating Mirrormore incursions, etc. But they can use to add new color variations on popular existing skills from the weapon, guild, and world skill lines. Awesome. I really hope that means we can have like some fancy colored all sorts of stuff. We're going to find out more about this probably when I play. I'm really excited for this to come to the class skill lines though, because I really want like the pink or the yellow magic for the Arcanist like they showed in that trailer from last year. And I would love to have like different colored skills for the Templar. Like that'd be super fun to have like a different colored jabs instead of the Templar's gold. It'd be super fun, super cool. This is the new trial stuff. I don't really care about this. I don't do trials very much, but I might have to because this trial comes with some crazy sets. So we're gonna look at the sets now. So the Overland sets I think are absolutely wild. I looked at these earlier and they're crazy. So this first one, Symmetry of the Wield, it's a light set. Weapon and spell damage, weapon and spell damage, weapon and spell damage. Not bad, not the best, but pretty good. But the 5-piece adds 200% status effect chance while your health is above 50% and adds 10% healing done while your health is 50% or less. First off, this set is made for the Endless Archive. 200 extra percent status effect chance is amazing for any focused efforts build. And you get 10% extra healing if you go down below 50% health, which is exactly what you want in the Endless Archive, because focused efforts gives you the most damage, and this is going to help you top up your health when you go lower than 50% health. That's fantastic. This, it looks like it's going to be a very good set for the Archive, and it looks like it's just going to be a fun set. 200% status effect chance is nothing to scoff at. That is a pretty decent DPS increase. I don't know if this will be like a meta set or anything, but it's definitely a strong set. Like this is not bad, especially for solo play. For solo play, I can see this being used. The medium set's honestly kind of insane. 1, weapon and spell damage, weapon and spell damage, weapon and spell damage, and then an extra 5th piece bonus for more weapon and spell damage. That's really cool. When sets have an extra stat line on their 5th piece bonus, they are deceptively good. It's hard to describe, but it means that this other bonus is probably like conditional or not powerful enough to be its own 5-piece bonus, but then you get 150 weapon and spell damage on top of it, which is another half of a 5-piece bonus. That's pretty strong. It's pretty strong, especially when the effect is this. When you kill a monster, they burst with blood magic, dealing 50% of their max health to enemies within 6 meters as bleed damage, up to 24,000 bleed damage. This might be the strongest AoE set for solo play in the game. This could be insanely good for Vatashran Hollows. Every 0.5 seconds, this actually might be the AoE set that I need for my Arcane Archer. This could pop off in trash pulls because you can just pop 24k damage, 24k damage, 24k damage every half a second. That's giant explosions. This is going to be super cool. I'm actually going to try this out in Vatashran possibly as soon as the patch goes up. This is really exciting. I'm actually pumped for that. Okay, Aelid Refuge, blocking an attack reduces your damage taken by 11% for 3 seconds. That's pretty cool. This is bigger than Major Protection, and you just get it for blocking. That's honestly, it's not bad. It's nothing crazy, but it's not bad. Max health, max stam. That's not bad. It's not going to change anything for the tank meta. And I don't think this is going to get much use in PvP either, but it's kind of cool. The crafted sets are also kind of nuts. So Highland Sentinel, we have a set like this already, but crit chance, crit chance, crit chance. While in combat, each second you stand still grants you a stack of Sentinel's Eye, up to 10 stacks. Each of those increases your critical chance by 468. If you stand still for 10 seconds, that's 4,680 crit chance. ESO crit chance calculator. Okay, 219 crit is 1%. So 4680 divided by 219. This 5-piece set is a 21% crit chance increase on its own. If you can manage to hunker down and stay still, this is a massive damage increase. On stack and burn fights, this might actually be a meta set. That is so much crit chance. 21%. Wow. Okay. The next one, weapon and spell damage, weapon and spell damage, weapon and spell damage. They really like these stat lines right now. Dealing damage with a fully charged heavy attack grants you Major Berserk. That's 10% increased damage for 4 seconds, increasing your damage done by 10%. Right. And it can happen every 1 second. Major Berserk for a fully charged heavy attack. That is, I think, really good. I'm actually unsure. I think this could be good on something like, I was going to say on a Templar who can run a heavy attack build with beam for executes, but you can just run deadly instead of this and get crit chance, which is generally better than weapon and spell damage, and 15% extra damage on your beam instead of 10%. So yeah, honestly, this one I thought was better than I think it is now. Well, my first reaction was that it was going to be really good, but I think it's only okay. The next one, though, is absurd. Threads of War. Max stamina, Weapon and spell damage, okay. Max magicka, all right, now we know it's a weird set. Your light and fully charged heavy attacks. I don't know about medium attacks. I don't know why medium attacks wouldn't be included here. Because normally it'd be your light and heavy attacks. But it says fully charged, so that's weird. Gain 100% status effect chance. The status effect is based on the type of your weapon. If this works the way it reads, that could mean light attack weaving with a physical weapon guarantees sundered on every light attack. Light attacking with a restoration staff would give you, overcharged? Light attacking with a fire staff or inferno staff would give you burning, ice staff chilled, lightning staff concussed. That's insane. One, I think this is going to be nutty for PvP. Light attacking with a bow guarantees sundered, so you automatically get 3k pen on your target, which is crazy just for a light attack. And then you can throw a snipe in there with a lethal arrow or whatever it's called for poisoned and big damage. And all you have to do is light weave. I think this is going to be pretty great in PvP. And I think this could honestly be decent in PvE as well. 100% status effect chance. This is going to be a lot of status effect damage. Like a lot. Like 2, 3, 4k, depending on where you're parsing and what your stats are like. Like that's crazy. Just for light attack weaving. That is so good. So good. Like I don't know. This is very interesting, but I think it's going to pair really well with some of the other big changes. Maybe not big changes. Maybe big changes. We'll see. I think this is going to pair really well with one specific change, which we're going to get to in a minute. The trial sets. Okay. Crit chance, max magicka, crit chance. The max magicka is not that great, especially considering how good the 5-piece is. I think by the end of the PTS cycle, this is going to be changed to like weapon and spell damage, or even like a hybrid max magicka, max stamina, because this is really good. Increase your crit chance by 128 for every major buff active on you, up to 1536, which is like, what, 8% or something? I can just do the math now, because I know what the number is. 1536 divided by 219. This is 7% crit chance. Increase your critical damage by 1% for every minor buff active on you, up to 12% crit damage done. That's really good. This will work really well with an Oaken Soul build, which is pretty cool because there's not that many trial sets that I think work really well with Oaken Soul. But getting something that's more effective, possibly more effective than like Order's Wrath is pretty good. It's pretty good, especially considering you lose this line with Oaken Soul because you already have made Minor Slayer. So I don't know. I think this is a pretty good set. We'll see how it does. I think this is going to change though. Max Magic is not going to stick around. Slivers of the Null Arcana. Crit chance, weapon and spell damage. Dealing critical damage gives you a stack of Sliver for 10 seconds. You only gain one stack every 0.5 seconds. When you gain your third stack, so after a second and a half, the stacks are consumed and the crystals launch at your enemy, at the last enemy you damaged, dealing an amount of physical damage. This number is not accurate. It's probably highly dependent on your stats. This damage scales off your weapon or spell damage. Once you launch the crystal, you cannot gain Sliver for 5 seconds. So basically, every 6.5 seconds, you are going to be launching off some damage. It depends. It just is going to depend on how this number works out, whether it's good or not. The interesting thing is, even though this is a Slayer set, so it's for PvE, this looks like it could be a PvP set. All you have to do is stack 3 instances of critical damage on the enemy, and then boom, your proc happens. This proc looks like it's going to be good in PvP. It's rare that happens, that you want a Minor Slayer set in PvP, but if you get the perfected version, it could be pretty good, especially every 5 seconds. Like that could line up really well with your burst. I don't know. We'll see. The next light set is for healing. Increases your max magicka and max stamina by 1667 for you and up to 11 other group members. I don't know enough about the healer meta. This doesn't seem like it's going to get used by a healer. Maybe an off tank or something could run it. Unsure. I don't think this 1667 is going to be enough of a damage increase or sustained increase to replace the other standard healer sets though. And then the heavy set, while you have more than 50% health, increase the critical damage and healing of your group members by 11%. Holy crap. Group members wearing Lucent Echoes cannot benefit from this effect. Okay, so the tanks cannot benefit from this. While you have 50% or less health, reduce your damage taken from monsters by 20%. That is so good. But in groups that don't have amazing major force uptime, this mitigates that heavily. This could be really good. And then while you have 50% less health, you get a selfish effect. Damage taken is 20% less. That's really good. I might actually want our tank in my prog group to get this. Because this would be a really nice hybrid damage and selfish set. Like he gets 20% damage taken reduction. He gets 20% damage reduction when he needs it, and he's buffing us with damage when he doesn't. That's fantastic. Sets that can fill 2 roles like that really well are very valuable. So that's really cool. Lucent Echoes. All right, we might have to run this trial. We might have to. Okay, new mythic items. Rorken Steam Guards. These are heavy hands. Activating block in combat grants you Steam Guardian for 0.5 seconds, reducing your damage taken by 99%. But only for 0.5 seconds. And it's only when activating block. Blocking an attack while Steam Guardian active reduces its cooldown by 5 seconds. Wait. Okay. At first, my first reaction to this was like, 0.5 seconds, and it's only one after you activate blocks. So you have to be like really well timed. And I was like, and it can only happen every 10 seconds. And yeah, you can reduce the cooldown by 5 seconds. But wait, the reduction on cooldown does not. If this effect doesn't have a cooldown, then it's basically, depending on how fast you get hit, you could have this 99% damage reduction up a lot. Like basically block a hit, 99%. Block a hit, 99%. Block a hit, 99%. That's kind of crazy. It's just timing this is insane, because after that second hit, if you're holding block, I wonder if this 0.5 seconds starts. Because if it does, the boss or the ads or whatever have already done the damage, so that 99% doesn't matter. I wonder if you have to reactivate block to get that 99%. There are some tanks that are probably going to make use of this. That's insane though, because it's just damage taken. So you can mitigate like a giant hit with it. An interesting thing would be like a DPS running this, or like an off tank. I don't know. This is interesting, but I'm not sure how it's going to get used. Shadow Queen's Cowl. This is not a PvE or a PvP or any set. This is a pickpocketing set. While crouched, you can see guards and you can see witnesses and guards through walls. Okay, successfully pickpocketing a witness or guard applies distracted to them for 10 seconds, stunning your target. Decreases your detection radius in stealth by 30 meters against distracted targets. Successfully pickpocketing a witness. I don't know how pickpocketing works, so someone else will have to tell me how this works. If you know how this is going to work out, let me know. It seems like it's going to be cool for people that like doing the pickpocketing and stealing routes. I don't know. The Saint and the Seducer. While in combat, you gain 1 of 5 random buffs, which changes every 10 seconds. Enemies within 12 meters of you gain 1 of 5 random minor debuffs, depending on which buff you have. The available buffs and debuffs include Berserk and Maim, Resolve and Breach, Force and Brittle, Evasion and Vulnerability, Courage and Cowardice. This is clearly a PvP set, and it's going to be really cool for people that like the Daedric Trickery style of play, where you just like kind of keep track of what your buffs are. And, you know, you can get Berserk, Resolve, Force, Evasion, and Courage. Run this with Daedric Trickery and whatever that other set is that does a similar thing, and you're just going to have a lot of random buffs firing off all the time. That's kind of fun. I don't know. That'll be fun for some people. Not really for me. Okay, so those are the sets. I think there are a couple really insane ones in here. Honestly, I'm really excited for these. This is the first time they've released sets in a couple years that I've been like, oh my gosh, I want that set. But the one that I'm the most excited for, I think, is actually, I think it's inspiring me to try out a werewolf build. And that's this one, Threads of War. Your light and fully charged heavy attacks gain 100% status effect chance. This matters for werewolves because of what we're going to talk about next. Here are the werewolf changes. Werewolf transformation. So this is the ultimate. This ultimate and its morphs, light and heavy attacks. So when you're a werewolf, now deal bleed damage rather than physical. These attacks now have a chance to apply their status effect, hemorrhaging, with light attacks at 3% and partially charged heavy attacks at 5% and fully charged at 10%. That new set turns this to 100%, which means every single light attack procs a tick of hemorrhaging. That is so strong because hemorrhaging fully stacked up is a very powerful status effect. I think it's the most powerful while it's stacked up, and you can stack it up very, very quickly. Let's read the spoiler comment here. Lacking a second ability bar, those with the beast within them have a harder time interacting with status effects and have fallen a bit further behind in damage production than we'd like. We're throwing them a bone by letting these attacks have a small passive chance to apply them while making their build paths slightly more diverse, with status effect chance being a bit more enticing. This won't be a silver bullet to solve their damage deficits, but werewolves don't like silver. They have put so many werewolf puns in this thing. I can't even. Okay, Roar. This is another interesting change. This ability and the ferocious Roar morph, this is the offensive morph, now apply a unique debuff called Terrified to enemies they hit for 10 seconds. Terrified doesn't do anything outright other than place a tracking effect on enemies to help werewolves mark their prey. Deafening Roar is the interesting change. This morph now grants major protection for slotting rather than major prophecy and savagery. So they can just get major protection on their bar, which is awesome. While slotted, it also causes your heavy attacks to taunt enemies for 15 seconds. They brought back werewolf taunting for those werewolf tanks out there, which is kind of fun. Since our fix the Tormentor, some werewolves have been barking up a storm. Oh my gosh. At the loss of their way to pounce into the tank scene. I'm gonna die. We're adding some love back to the mix with a simple way to gain a taunt, while simultaneously differentiating the morphs here further for those who wish to lead the pack versus those who wish to just go berserk. Piercing Howl. This ability and its morphs no longer deal 10% bonus damage to enemies that are facing them, and instead deal 10% bonus damage to enemies that are terrified. The Howl of Agony. I think this is the even more offensive morph. This morph now adds an additional 10% bonus damage to off-balance enemies, stacking up to 20% when they're also terrified, rather than dealing 25% to enemies that are facing you. So this is up to 20% increased damage. That's pretty nuts if you can cause off balance regularly. This morph now also ranks up with cost reduction rather than the bonus damage effect. That's really good. Cost reduction on werewolves is important because their sustain is not that great. Howl of Despair extended the duration of the buffs granted by Feeding Frenzy to 20 seconds, up from 10. What is Feeding Frenzy? I don't actually know. Or an ally targeting the enemy can activate the Feeding Frenzy synergy, which grants them Empower and Minor Force for 10 seconds, increasing their damage done with heavy attacks against monsters by 70% and their critical damage by 10%. So the synergy goes to 20 seconds. That's pretty strong. Let's see what this is. We've heard the howling from werewolf players that have been struggling to engage with these abilities' bonus effects, so we're changing them up to allow more interaction between PvP and PvE playstyles, while simultaneously adding more reasons to use all of your werewolf abilities, or work together with other werewolves to set the pack up for success. So many puns. So many puns. I think these werewolf changes are actually crazy. The fact that the attacks now deal bleed damage and there's the set that will make them 100% chance to deal hemorrhaging. Honestly, I think it could be a really strong setup, and I want to try out a werewolf run of Vadashran. I think it'll be great. I want to try werewolf everything now. And I've never done it. I've only played 20 minutes of a werewolf ever, even though I have 2 werewolf characters and they're my 2 oldest characters in the game. So this seems really fun. I am looking forward to trying these. Those are the major class changes. There's a couple fixes. Templar tanks now get immobilized through Blazing Spear, which is cool. They fix some issues. Sorcerer's Blood Magic passive, which normally activates when you hit an enemy with an offensive ability, now just activate whenever you cast a Dark Magic ability with a cost. Blood Magic is the healing passive, so whenever you cast a Blood Magic skill, whenever you cast a Dark Magic skill, any of them that cost Magicka or Stamina or whatever, you're just going to get the heal immediately. And it means Dark Deal and Dark Conversion also gain 1600 extra healing, which is kind of cool. That's actually really cool. Nightblade's Dark Shade morph, this is the damage morph of their Shade ability, is now always area of effect damage, which is cool. And they changed the animation to Drain Power instead of Whirlwind. I liked the Whirlwind, but that's fine. And Necromancer's got a buff to their Shocking Siphon and their Restoring Tether. They just do more damage and do more healing, which is cool. Other than that, there's not really any changes. And they hopefully fixed the heavy attack bug. All right, so that has been the patch notes. There is a lot more in here. Feel free to check it out. I'll link these in the description. Read them yourself. There's a lot going on. I'm going to jump into the actual PTS server as soon as I can. I got to edit this video right now, and then I'm jumping in and I'm trying some stuff. I've got a few more videos planned for this PTS cycle. Hopefully in the next week, I'll have all 3 of these out. We got a patch note review. We got the PTS scribing stuff, which is coming soon. And I'm going to go solo all the new world bosses, probably tonight, maybe on a werewolf, just for fun to see how it works. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like it, comment, let me know what you're excited for. And I'll see you all in the next excuse.